Welcome back. This week, the Justice Department went to the appeals court in Louisiana to try to get the moratorium on offshore drilling reinstated. It had been shuttered by a lower court judge who cited that there was not enough evidence that the drilling was a problem. Never mind the barrels gushing out of the bottom of the ocean at the moment. And never mind that the moratorium only affects 33, that's 33, of the 3,300 rigs out there, because it's only for rigs that are drilling, not ones that are producing. So it doesn't affect production. Came out after the first judge rejected the moratorium that he had stock in BP through his investment company, who was the largest single shareholder of BP stock. And he didn't recuse himself, although he did sell his Exxon stock the day he gave the verdict. He didn't want it to appear that he was influenced by oil. Anyway, Justice Department took it to the appeals court, and they also rejected it. Odd thing here is, or maybe not so odd, 2 of the 3 judges have been lawyers for the oil companies. The third one has $300,000 of stock in BP. Do you think they might be a little biased? And it's been said that it's going to be very tough for a lot of the cases in the Gulf because there are so many judges who have stock in oil. I mean, they're from the Gulf Coast states. They have interest. They should be recusing themselves. They should be saying, look, I've got a vested interest in the outcome here. I need to step back. But they're not. That doesn't bode well for the rest of us. Those who don't have oil company stocks and who aren't friends with the BPs and Exxons of the world. Again, let's go back to what that moratorium was. 33 rigs out of 3,300. That's all it's affecting, and those aren't drilling, or aren't producing. They're only drilling. In fact, what they usually do is drill and then abandon the well. They'll come back to it at some later date. Maybe. This week it was released that there are 27,000 abandoned wells in the Gulf. Some as old as 50 years old. Just sitting on the bottom. We don't know if they're leaking. We don't know if they aren't. But that's what those 33 drilling rigs do. They drill a hole. They put pipe in it, and then they cap it. And they move on to another hole. At some point later, when the oil company that owns that well decides they want to try to produce it, they bring in a production rig, connect back up to that well, and start producing oil. Drilling work's already been done. This moratorium would stop new drilling for 6 months. Well, why is that important? Well, what we've learned, among many other things with this spill, is that the oil companies don't know how to fix it. All of them work out of basically the same playbook as to how to respond to this type of disaster. And that means they're all wrong. Their playbooks didn't account for this type of disaster because they didn't think it could happen. It also means that they don't have the gear to fix it. Right now, BP is using every available resource in the region, and some from around the world, to deal with this disaster. So what happens if we get a second one before the first one's fixed? Where do the resources come from? BP is now talking about the fact that they're going to put a new cap on that's going to seal it. Here's the question. Why didn't they use that one already? Why are we 80 plus days into this disaster and they're just now thinking, oh, we can bolt this new cap on? Really? A big part of the answer is they're not prepared. These oil companies aren't prepared. The moratorium has behind it the concept that we're going to go and find out if they're ready, find out the status of the wells being drilled, and make sure that everything is in place before we make this mistake again. Right now, we can't get to the moratorium because there are some judges who are really friendly with big oil and who have decided that we're not going to get to slow things down. As an average person, what are we supposed to do? I'm not sure. If you got any ideas, let me know. We'll be back.